Very welcome to this section on consultative sales. This is part one of the notes, and in this section we're going to discuss the process and how we work through the consultative sales process with prospective clients and partners. I'd just like to re-emphasize the fact that in a consultation, no different than the medical profession, a client or a patient would present with a set of symptoms, and the consultant, or in this case the sales consultant, will listen and propose a set of possible solutions and work with the client towards a mutually beneficial result. Gained a better understanding of the benefits of employing this consultative sales process, both for the company and for the partner. Become aware of the 4 parts of the need satisfaction model. Building on earlier sections where we looked at questions and the different types of questions and question techniques, the use of questions to discover customer needs, which may not always be apparent at the very beginning. Also, the importance of active listening and the use of confirmation questions, just to confirm that what you believe you have heard is actually what the customer has said and that was their intention. It is maybe not always apparent or immediately apparent that this is the case. And then finally, and most importantly, to build on all of this, is how to select solutions that match customer needs to the profile and your own sales ambitions. This slide outlines the 6-step presentation plan. Step 1, the approach, which is pre-meeting the customer. At this stage, you're outlining the strategic plan, the strategic model that the company is following. And you've initiated the customer contact where you've established the suitability for the visit. In step 2, needs discovery. At this stage, we're using the questions that we've developed, the various forms of questioning techniques that we can use, we can employ to really determine the customer needs. Remember, we're trying to discover the problem that we're hoping to propose a product solution for. And it's only by asking questions and listening actively to the responses that we can really determine what the customer needs are going to be. So why? What is it about the consultative sales process? How does it add value? Well, primarily it's because of increased customer satisfaction, because of the nature of the relationship, the questioning, the listening, the proposing of solutions. This leads to increased customer satisfaction. Because of this, more sales are closed. Now remember, we're not overly comfortable with the term closing a sale, but it's the concept that a sale is confirmed. And because of the nature of this process and how it's working through the relationship, a mutually beneficial relationship, this leads to fewer order cancellations and returns and increased repeat business and referrals. So people buy off us again and recommend us to others. And that is very, very important for long-term success. And re-emphasize the cyclical nature of the relationship and the whole process. So it begins with planning, and really planning what you're doing, how you're doing it, where. The whole process is the pre-call planning. And early in this whole cycle, it's about building rapport and maintaining that rapport with your partner, your sales partner, your customer through the whole process. We're discovering their needs, we're asking questions, and what we're looking to do is build a value proposition, which through our questioning we are hopefully building a solution that adds value. And remember, that's marketing, it's about this whole exchange of value. We're confirming the process of confirming, so we're confirming what they've said, what they need, and also we're confirming that they place the order with us. Remember, it's the salesperson's ego. And finally, the final element of this is to support their decision, whether that's in practical ways, supporting merchandising, practical support, advice, training, whatever it happens to be. Support their decision to allay any fears or any dissonance that they may have. And this is a constantly evolving cycle. So let's take a moment to have a look at another graphic that displays the different stages, the different elements that make up the sales process, the emphasis at different stages. So along the horizontal axis we have time, and it's representative of the whole time that we are in this relationship with a customer. And the vertical axis is the emphasis, the things that are important at different stages as we go along. So you'll notice that the first one there is relating. This is building the relationship, managing the relationship, and just working with the customer. You notice that there's a very important emphasis placed on this, and this stretches across the whole relationship on the time spectrum. And after we've begun to build the relationship, we can begin to work on discovering what their problems are, or what their requirements are. However we wish to phrase this, we have to discover. Now there's slightly less emphasis on this than relating, but remember that it's sort of relative, okay? So we're discovering. We're kind of working towards something. So again, from the point of beginning discovering, this works to the end of the relationship, whenever that would happen to be. So once we've started to build the relationship, we then move into discovering, and then we continue to work with the customer to discover their needs. Next up is advocating. So after we've gone through the needs discovery process, we come into advocating. This is advocating and proposing possible solutions. So we've discovered it, we've used our expertise, we've listened, and we've narrowed down the options. So there's a little less emphasis at this stage, and we advocate solutions. And again, there's questioning, there's listening, there's presentations, all come into this part of the process. And then the final element is supporting the decision, whatever the decision happens to be. So these elements are working together, so relating, discovering, advocating, and towards the end, we're supporting as well, whatever their decision has had to be. And we mentioned this in the earlier part. We support their decision with any extra support we can give them from the company, but we make it worthwhile for them, and it's just a slightly less emphasis on this. Moments now before we move on to the next section to remind yourself of the importance of the process, the consultative process, and why we should look at adopting it, and also to remind yourself of the different elements that make up the process, and the different skills or the focus, the emphasis that we need to look at each of the stages.